Hello everyone. Let's get started. Today we're going to be discussing a basic overview of the immune system. The immune system is composed of cells and the products that they secrete, as well as a variety of tissues that function to protect an organism from foreign substances, foreign cells, and other agents that might gain entrance into the body. The immune system actually has two distinct components, both the innate side and the adaptive side. The innate immune system is nonspecific and is considered the first line of defense against foreign cells and other materials. The adaptive immune system, in comparison, is quite specific and is considered the second line of immune defense. Both the innate and the adaptive components of the immune system include both cells and what we describe as humoral or antibody-based systems. On this slide, we're looking at a diagram of the immune system broken down into its two subsystems, the innate or non-specific immune system and the adaptive or specific immune system. Remember, in both of these systems, there are cellular components and humoral components. That term, humoral, actually translates to fluid components. So another way to think about it is non-cellular components, things that are secreted from the immune cells that function in immunity. That also, of course, includes antibodies. Now, the immune system is housed in several locations within the body. In fact, there is no tissue that doesn't contain at least one type of immune cell within it. But we typically imagine the immune system at least beginning in the bone marrow, and that's what we can see on this slide. The bone marrow is responsible for producing a number of the cells that make up the cellular component of the immune system. These include what we often refer to as white blood cells. And you can see on the right-hand side of the slide a depiction of several types of white blood cells. The spleen is also considered immune tissue, as is the thymus, the tonsils, and of course the lymph nodes and the lymphatic vessels. On this slide, we can see the lymphatic system in its entirety. Remember, the lymphatic system is a circulatory system, and its vessels tend to follow with the vessels of the cardiovascular system. The primary difference between the cardiovascular system and the lymphatic system is that there is no pump that is pushing lymph fluid through the lymphatic system. Instead, it's the everyday movement of the human body that pushes lymph fluid through the system. Another important thing to know is that there are periodic collections of solid tissue in the lymphatic system, and these are referred to as lymph nodes. So let's spend a few minutes talking about the specifics of the innate immune system. Remember, this is the non-specific part of the immune system, and it's going to respond to foreign materials in the body with what we would consider general protective mechanisms. It's important to note that the innate immune system is the dominant system in many organisms, including plants, fungi, and most primitive eukaryotes. There are 5 major functions that the innate immune system carries out, and I have them listed on this slide. First, the innate immune system provides physical, chemical, and living barriers to agents that might come into the body, including infectious agents. Second, it allows for the identification and the removal of foreign things through the actions of specialized white blood cells. Third, it helps to recruit other immune cells to sites of infection using chemical factors, including what are called cytokines, and we'll be talking about them in just a minute. Fourth, it activates what's called the complement cascade, which is a very complex component of the immune system involving several different proteins. It helps to identify bacteria as being foreign, activate additional cells in the immune system, and promote the clearance of materials and debris that get left over after an immune response. And last on the list, the innate immune system has to activate the other half of the immune system, which is the adaptive side, through a process that's called antigen presentation. We're going to be talking about each one of these functions separately. On this slide, we can see some of the physical, structural, chemical, and living barriers that prevent foreign microbes and other materials from entering the body. Epithelial linings, for example. If you recall from anatomy, epithelial tissue is the type of tissue that lines cavities. And of course, there are many hollow organs and passageways and cavities in the body. The epithelial cells that line these cavities and passageways help prevent foreign material from coming across them and into the body. There are also layers of tissue in several locations in the body that are covered with a mucus layer, and sometimes even cilia emerging from cells. If you think about, for example, the gastrointestinal system, the respiratory system, the urinary system, the urogenital system, all of these have a layer of mucus that lies over the cells, and mucus helps to trap microbial cells or viral particles or other foreign materials that might again gain entry into cells. Cilia is also important because cilia helps to move materials away from cell surfaces. If you think about the cilia in the trachea, for example, they are going to be beating in unison and helping to sweep foreign material like dust and other particles and microbes and so on up and out of the trachea and into the back of the throat, into the pharynx, where it can be swallowed down into the stomach and disposed of. Now, when it comes to chemical barriers, these are usually secretions from cells, and these really vary based upon what type of cell is involved. For example, the cells that line the stomach that secrete acid are providing a secretion that not only aids in digestion, but helps prevent foreign materials from going further down into the gastrointestinal system. Fatty acids are secreted in different locations in the body, including on the surface of the skin. They have an antimicrobial property. There are also a lot of products secreted by the microbes that normally live in the body. Microbes that inhabit our microbiome will be secreting chemicals that will help keep planktonic pathogens out. The normal flora, therefore, the normal microbiome, is a barrier to pathogens getting into the body. In some ways, the microbes that inhabit the microbiome are providing simply an advantage of numbers. There are so many of them, for example, that line the intestine that individual planktonic pathogens would have a very difficult time penetrating through that population of normal microbes, healthy microbes, to gain access to the body. These are the physical, chemical, and living barriers of the innate immune system. On this slide, there's a whole lot of writing, and I know it's very small and it's hard to read, but this slide points out all of these different types of physical, chemical, and living barriers in the body. Over on the left-hand side of the slide, they're showing us all of the different components of the innate immune system in these barriers. And on the right-hand side, they're pointing out all of the places in the body that are home to our normal flora, our microbiome. This slide really drives home how much of our innate immune system is sort of standing guard and literally providing a barrier between the internal parts of our body and foreign invaders.